This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, let me share my screen and we'll start with sessions. Let me know when you guys can see my screen.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah, okay. So today we'll continue with our model configuration. Today we'll see the operators that we use to copy the data from one key figure to another key figure, and there's also another operator called copy and disaggregate uh, operator. Like these two key figures, these two operators will be configuring in, and we'll attach this to our planning area, and then we'll use it in our planning. So yeah, I mean, in your projects also you guys will be using a lot of copying the data from one key figure to another key figure, right? So yeah, these kind of requirements would definitely come in any of the implementations. And the only thing is, like, when the copying is happening, so both the key figures need not be at the same level, right? For example, the planning, like planning might have been done at an X level, and so now that has to be copied onto another key figure that could be at another level, so that the other team can pick it up and start doing their own planning. For example, in our if you come back to our scenario that we are configuring in, the capacity planning might be done by one team, where they go and mention once once and nothing. One means that a maintenance activity is happening, so, and they do a lot of adjustments and this and that. So finally, like they put some alerts, they see the thresholds, and then finally they deduce one capacity plan, final available capacity. So now that has to be copied onto another key figure. Let's say if in the same landscape, if the supply planning algorithms are also there, for example, like a heuristic or an optimizer or something like that, and now so that key figure, that data that has been available in a different key figure, it could be a custom key figure, so that has to be copied onto a standard key figure, so that the standard key figure as goes as an input into this algorithm, which was already been, the algorithm has been written back and we can't change anything in it. So sometimes we have to propagate these inputs, which are actually the outputs of some other planning process. So right, so once that is done, we can schedule a copy operator, and then like every day or something, or even planner can go and run it ad hoc. They just run it and the data gets copied. So these things are always there. Like, for example, the marketing team can do their own forecast, and they adjust all the promotions and stuff, and then once they're done, we have to take a copy of the marketing planners forecast, and then start with our demand planning process, and etc etc. So while the data is copying, there are, as I told, there are two operators, and every operator works in a different way. So for example, let me show you this. mm, so there's a product ID. So a product called Galaxy Tab, um, Galaxy Tab 101 is sending to Amazon. This is RDC1, this is DC2, and this is DC3. The key figure is um, no, let's say something like, let's say shipment. Um, just thinking of a right example. Yeah, do I have an example here? I think I don't have an example. So there is a data like something like this. That there is a product called GTAB 101. The customer is Amazon. So these three locations are shipping to Amazon, and they shipped 100, 200, 300 quantities. There's another customer called eBay. So same key figure shipment. So we have these values. So now let's say there is another key figure that's called total shipments, which is just at the product level and location level. Okay, so now something like this. So the now the requirement is that the data that is there here, like let's say this is the actuals that is coming from the transportation actuals quantity, and that has to be propagated onto this. So now if we run a copy operate, we can run a copy operator from key figure one, that is shipment, to another key figure called as a total shipment. And but while the copy is happening, what system does is that, as you mentioned, that the copy has to happen at product and location level, system does the aggregation that Amazon RDC1 is 100, eBay RDC1 is 200, the total is 300. DC2, Amazon DC is 200, eBay DC2 is 200, 400 comes and sits here. Amazon DC3 is 300, eBay DC3 is 200, 500 comes and sits here. Okay, uh, just like this, you can create, I mean, the target key figure could be at product and customer level also. If it is product and customer level, then system takes off the location level and then does the aggregation and just keeps it here. Okay, you guys are getting it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like for example, let's say there's a salesperson here, like John and Steve and Robert, something like that. So there's the forecast is something like this: sales manager forecast. So let's say now there's a target gift called as a mm, sales team input. Sorry, this is eBay and this is eBay and there's a customer, right? So when the sales team is working on their side of the plan, they'll have a visibility of a salesperson called John, and so they'll get to know that John has the salesperson, like it could be like anything, what do you call a sales department, or anything, so sales VP or whatever. So John is bringing a forecast of 100, and he has done his leads and he made a lot of calls to the team and blah blah blah, whatever it is. So we have the data at this detail level. But when the demand planning is happening, and the demand planning considers a lot of inputs like historical input and marketing team input, and if the sales team input is also coming in, then at that time they are really not interested to see the salesperson dimension into it. So they really don't care that how much John is contributing to the Amazon forecast. Nope. So at that time what we do is we so there will be a different key feed called sales team input, and then there we just have the product and customer dimension, and when you run a copy operator, system does the aggregation, on the spot, and just copies the value. So now let's read this theory, and then we'll go and we'll configure, then we'll run the operator, and we'll also see how to configure the operator and where to attach this to a planning area and how to run it and how to verify the results. So this is a general theory about copy operator. Some reading here. So another, I mean, if you guys are reading it properly, so here see, it could be a calculated value or it could be a stored value. The same example here, sales manager forecast, which is a product customer salesperson. So this 100 could be coming out of a big calculation that we wrote in the key figure calculation, right? So that calculated value can be copied onto target key figure. That is a result of copy operator. Or it could be a stored value also. That means the John is coming and he is punching a value of 111 and he's keeping enter and then he's saving the data. Now that stored value can also be copied. So another highlight here could be in the same version. It has to be in the same version. So if you remember, I think on Friday we're talking about versions, and we created something, some other version. So there, if in that version, if the key figure is getting calculated, and now if you want to run a copy operator, which copies data from one version to other version, it won't work. So if you want to copy data between the versions, you remember there is a group called versions. There it is something called like we copy the data and we also specify what master data we want to copy, what key figures we want to copy, and etc. etc. So that is option. So we shouldn't reach out to the copy operator to move the data between the versions. So this copy operator will work within the version. So let's read this. I mean, these are all theory, and this is a key. Key figures can be copied only if the source key figure can be calculated at the base planning level of the target key figure. This is a key, right? That means sales team input is at a product and customer ID level. So let's say this is uh, let's just say that there is a location here. This is RDC 101. This is RDC 102. So now if you want to run a copy operator on this, then this will not work, because the base planning level of the key figure sales team input is at product and location, but the product and location combination is not present in the source key figure. That is a sales manager forecast, right? So here you can see that the key figure to this is a target. So the data has to come from here. So the target is at product and location level. So here the product and location level is already there. It will do an aggregation and it will copy. Okay, but if you bring something called as here a resource, then it will not work. Values are calculated based on that calculation configuration. So how we set up the operator. So that's what it means. So let's go and so yeah, and there are a lot of parameters. We'll see those parameters, and let's go now and first, we'll finalize on the key figures that we want, and then we'll go and create an operator, and then we'll also run it. So let me create a new key figure, clicking on new, creating a key figure, and yeah, guys, I mean, you cannot do a copy of helper key figure and stuff. So this is on a normal, key figure. So giving a name, it's called Z test copy source. Just giving the technical name so that we can uniquely identify it. So for now, I'm just creating a weak prod location customer level. So I'll say test copy. It's a source key figure. Um, I'll say that this is a stored key figure. This is editable so that we delete it and we'll test it. Then at the request level, input key figures. So there's just test copy source that would automatically come in, and then you click on stored here, click on OK, and save. Now I'm creating another key figure. I'm saying Z test copy target, and now this is at weak product location. Now this I'll say that this is a system editable, so this cannot be edited. It could be edited only by the system. That means a system has to propagate a value for it, either by running through a copy operator or through a calculation or something, but not by manual entry. So now I made it a system editable so that the copy operator will result this value. So usually, once the so in the implementations that I have done, so we always create like a approved key figure. So approved key figure is the one that holds the approved plan. So for example, like in the scenarios that we are seeing, the capacity plan, and it has all the calculations and alerts and stuff. sorry, alerts and stuff, and then there's a final value. So we'll create a copy operator so that the manager, whoever is kind of a spock for it, or the one who's accountable for all this activity, so we'll create a copy operator for him, so he'll go and run that operator. What that operator does is it copies the final plan that is being made by the team. It would just copy it into another key figure called as a approved capacity plan. So that approved capacity plan is a key figure that holds the final approval. So that is, so the values will be propagated only when they run the operator. So yeah, so once the activity is done, so till then he can keep on doing simulations and doing changes, tweaking, fine, to get the desired result. So once it is all done, then he just copies it, approved, and then from approved it would be passed on to another team, so that they can do some of the planning on it. So now I'm here in the overview page. So you guys remember this page, right? So this is where we click on attributes, we go to attributes, click on master data. As we go to master data, we have seen all that simple compound, and how we add an attribute and stuff. Time profiles we haven't yet done with it. We'll go to the time profiles. Planning area and details, we have seen this also, like what all we have done here, like we we had gone here and selected the attributes that we want, marked the attribute as a key figure, gave the horizons and all the settings that we do. So we do it in this page, planning area and details. Planning levels, remember we created a lot of planning levels in here, saved it, so that we can use it in here, the key figures. So this is where most of the time we spend. We go to key figure and change the calculations and stuff. And then there's the versions we have seen on that day, the versions. So we create multiple versions, and then we also say that which key figure is active for what version, and we also say whether that version will hold its own master data, and we call that as a version specific master data and stuff. So this is a start here overview. So here there is an option called manage planning operators. Remember, I think a few days back we had gone in here, manage snapshot configuration. So this is where we did the configuration. So now I'm going to this manage planning operators. So all these are operators that are available inside the system. So here click on copy. This is a copy. There are 90 copy operators what been configured in this system across the planning areas. So now I'm creating one for us. So let me just do this. The two key figures that we configured, and one is source, z test copy source. This is at a weak prod lock customer, and then the target key figure is z copy, z test copy target, and this is the different level. Let's come here. So now click on this add planning operator, this plus mark. So if I click on this, there will be a new entry created for it, 1088. A lot of copy operators, copy tcg, whatever, copy unconstrained, freeze the forecast, blah blah blah. So now gear so this is what is this interactive mode. That means interactively the planner can run it from Excel sheet. Okay, batch mode, click on checkbox. That means this operator can be scheduled as a batch job. Filter mode, that means when the operator is running, you can actually specify the filters that you want. Like what? Like run this operator only for a particular product family, only for a particular location region. So you know you're getting right. So like if the team is working, like if one person is responsible for one product family, once that planning is done, run that copy operator only for that particular product family. Only those combinations would be copied from source key figure to the target key figure. This is where we set the define parameters. Click on that. it gives a pop-up and what is a parameter name and the value that we have to maintain. So there is no data. Click on plus again. So first I'll write that there's a parameter that we have to follow this naming convention. That is source underscore kf id 1. That means the source key figure 1. Then what is the value here? This is test copy. So we have to give a technical name. See, this is gone. This is what happens. Source key figure id 1. Click on extra. Then target key figure id 1. So just two key figures, and then there are other parameters also that we can set. For let me just do this and then save it. So that's it. This operator is done. Okay, we created an operator. So let's see the there are a lot of parameters. So for now, just I have few, and then you can type it in Google. You'll see all different parameters that that you can use to manage your copying operation. So the mandatory is a source underscore kfid1. This is a mandatory. You have to specify that what is the source key figure, and then target key figure. This is also mandatory. So what is this source underscore kfidn? So that means in one single operator you can perform the copy operations of 10 different sets, like key figure 1 to key figure 2, key figure 3 to key figure 4, key figure 5 to key figure 6, etc., etc. You can do all that. So in that case, what you will do is source underscore kfid1 1, target underscore kfid1, that is one set, and then source underscore kfid2, target underscore kfid2, that's another set. So that's how you can do. So this is it. This allows execution of multiple key figure copies in a single operator cell. Next is period underscore offset. So what does this mean? So it offsets the copying operation. That's it. So offset relative. It is relative to the current period. This parameter isn't specified. It defaults to 0, in which case only values in the future buckets are copied. If you want to copy values in the past, specify a negative offset. So if you say -10, so mine past 10 periods also would be copied from source to target. So when I say 10 periods, you can ask like, what is a 10 period means? Is it day or a week or a month or blah blah blah? So as per the source key figure configuration, if you have selected the planning level as a week prod locust, that means week is a time period. That means it is -10 weeks, past 10 weeks. If you're copying a key figure like brand forecast, which is at a month level, then if you say -10, that means it copies past 10 months of data from source to target. What is the duration? Duration means for how many durations you want to use this. So when the copying is done, it copies from that for the entire future horizon. Your time profile has 10 years of data, it copies all 10 years. But if you don't want that, you want only a specific horizon, so it's kind of yearly plan or something, then you can specify. And these are all operational, optional. These are all optional. So that's why it didn't ask me anything. So there is also clear key figure values. So it clears the key figure values that sets to the value null. So you can just say that this is my source key figure and this is the key figure that I want to wipe out, and run that operator. It would wipe out. Give a logical name to the operator so that it just wipes out. So yeah, now I'm going to the again the planning area in detail. So where is that? So step by step process, what we have done here till now. First is we identified the requirement, that is the source key figure and target key figure. Next, what we did, configured a copy operator. Then what we have to do, we have to assign this operator to a planning area. If you have remembered, when you're configuring a snapshot operator, at the time system, the first thing that system asks is that what is the planning area that you want to do this operation on. So that's kind of the mandatory thing that it asks. Even if you like if you're creating a planning level, whatever it is, first you need to pick up the planning area. and then go inside of the planning area and do something. But whereas the operators, they would remain outside of the planning area. Like why means there are a lot of key figures that are like standard across the planning areas. For example, consensus demand is a standard key figure, like demand planning quantity is a standard key figure. That key figure is present across the planning areas. So if you have created a copy operator for copying the demand planning activity to consensus demand, so that copy operator can be used across the planning areas, because it's common. But now if I created this copy operator, and then if I assign to another planning area and run it, there it will fail, because system will not understand the key figure called z test copy source, z test copy target. It would throw an error message saying like cannot find these key figures. So that's the thing. So yeah, so here in these operators, this step is kind of a mandatory, that you need to go and assign the operator. Then we'll run the operator from Excel or web UI, and then verify the results. Same with copy and then disag operator also. We'll see the disag operator in a while. So yeah, so we're done with the creation of the operator, and now I'm going to the planning area and details. So in here, go to our planning area test code. It became inactive because we disturbed this planning area by creating two new key figures. So here you see there is something called planning operator. You click on this, it will show you all the operators that are already been assigned to this planning area. So there are a lot of operators. So let me just go to not the assigned, but click on this drop down and search for available. And then what is the name that we gave? It's called a test copy operator. So many test copies. Okay, see, copy source to target. Check this, click on OK. And the beauty is that you disturbed the planning area, but this will not deactivate the planning area. So if it is just assigning an operator, then it will not inactive. It will not make the planning area inactive. But if you change the key figure, etc., then it would definitely make the status as inactive. Okay, yeah, this is getting copied. So now let's say there is let's take another example. So what we have seen till now, copy data from one key figure to other key figure. Doesn't matter what the planning levels are, could be at one level, the target could be another level, but as long as there is a data available at the base planning level of the target key figure in the source key figure, then we can write a copy operator, and then we can get the results. Now I'll give you another example. Let's say there is there's a product ID. So now I could think of a good example. So let's say you guys are just implementing only the demand planning, so not the supply planning. uh, Galaxy tab, Amazon, eBay, Target store. Okay, then the key figure is approved demand, uh, approved demand forecast. So we have here 200, 400, 600. Okay, so and then there is a this is 101. 201, and this is 100 and 100 and 100. So now this is what you guys the demand planning team has come up. Okay, and so they also want to, there's also a location where it is shipping the data to the to the respective customers. So now they want to propagate this forecast to a location level. Okay, so now the requirement is that so this is the So this is a requirement. So they want the key figure data to be copied from approved demand forecast to location propagated forecast. So they just want to propagate this value. So whatever 200 is there for Galaxy Tab 101, they want to propagate it to the location level so that they'll see the stress on the locations that what could be the kind of a directional, values that what could be the what would be the demand on the location. So now can I write a copy operator for it? No. Why? Why? Because what is the key figures can be copied only if the source key figure can be calculated at the base planning level of the target key figure. Okay, so here, come on. So here, product ID, location ID is part of. Okay, here this is not the same. So if this is the planning level for the target key figure, product ID, customer ID, system can do a calculation at the source key figure planning level. Product ID, customer ID is present. The system does the aggregation and copies the values. But whereas in here there is no location here, then how system would do? So in this case what system does is, in this case you have to use something called as a disaggregate operator, because you have to disaggregate the value. So see this fancy diagram here. So here there is something called as a product ID and then customer ID. This is source and this is a target. So now what system does is, if you configure this copy operator and if you say that please aggregate at a product level, the system aggregates the values for the product level on the fly in the buffer and puts it onto the key figure 2 at that level product ID, and then it disaggregates to product and lock. That's how it does. So in this example what happens, if I say that the copy operator, copy and disag operator, if I say the attribute is a product, then what system does, the system first aggregates. So what would be the aggregate value in here? So the aggregate value is, there are 3 customers, but doesn't matter, when you aggregate the becomes 1200. So now this 1200 would be copied onto the target key figure, that is location propagation forecast. And then 1 second guys, 1 second. Yeah, so sorry guys for that. So yeah, so where were we? So what we are saying is that if the key figures are at different planning levels, and we need to go for the disag operator, and when we create the disag operator, we'll also specify the the attribute that it has to aggregate and disaggregate to. So in this example, there is only one attribute which is common across source and target, that is product id. And then if you say that product id is attribute, then system does the aggregation in the source key figure. So when it aggregates, it sums up all the values that are there for galaxy tab 101, that is 200, 400, 600. Then the aggregate becomes 1200. You see here, product and customer, system lifts it up to the product level. And now here it gets for the tab 101, it is, what is that, it is 1200. This is 1200. So for tab 102, it's 201, it is 100, 100, it has become 300. So now it just copies the same into this target key figure, the value of 1200. So now when it is copying 1200 at an aggregated level, then system disaggregates the values, right? This is what I mean. We have done it a lot of times, right? So we open the key figure at an aggregated level, and we punch in some value, and then we save it. The system disaggregates it. Just like the way it disaggregates 1200 at a product level, and there are two locations. If it is proportional, then it becomes 600 and 600 here, and here it becomes 150 and 150. You guys are with me till now?
Can you bring it?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So what if you don't want the disaggregation to happen in a normal way? So disaggregation mode we specified here. Like if you remember, say disaggregation mode, this is where we specify whether it's a copy value, whether it's equal distribution, whether it's a proportional, we specify it. And if it is copied, just copies it. So the aggregation is 1200 at product level, and then it just gives 1200 for RDC1, 1200 for RDC2, which is not makes sense. So in that case, you can also use another key figure for the disaggregation, right? Some kind of like a, you can say that it's a factor, or a multiplier, or whatever it is. So now let me I'll just show it to you what is that. So there is a product id here, and then there is a location dimension here, and then there's a customer dimension here. So rdc1 to Amazon, rdc1 to eBay, rdc1 to Target Store, something like this. Let me delete this. And then rdc2 here, rdc2 so this is what, there's another key figure. It's called as a, let's say this is a shipment. So how much it actually shipped. So I want to use that to use that as a disaggregation mm, multiplier kind of a thing. So if it is 100 and 100, and if it is 200, or it could be anything, like it'll say like 1000, and that's 2000, and then 3000. So now system does it proportionately as per this key figure. Okay, so when the copying is happening from approved demand forecast to location propagated forecast, and when the copying is happening, and if you're copying through disag operator, first it aggregates to the product level, and it copies onto target key figure, and target key figure disaggregates the values. And how it disaggregates? Based on this key figure called as a shipments. Okay, so yeah, let's configure that now. So just system disag shipment. Here I'll say weak prod lock cust shipments. For now I'll say this is stored, so that we can edit this. And then Z test disag. I'll keep it simple, guys. Customer forecast and location forecast. So I'll say this is customer forecast. This is week prod customer. So this is at a product and customer level only. That is fine. Just this disag. This is customer forecast. Copy. Control V. This is also stored. All editable. Create target key figure. Just disag lock forecast, that is location forecast, and now this is at week prod lock level. Test disag location forecast. This is stored. Now this is system editable. This is a result of the operator. Right, I created all three. Okay, here one small thing. So just disag. So here in the location forecast, the disaggregation has to happen based on the shipments, right? So this is where we specify. And guys, I mean, this disaggregation is a regular disaggregation. I mean, this need not be like a kind of a setting only for the what do you say, only for the disaggregate operator. It need not be like that. So you can create any key figure with the disaggregation expression as another key figure. Then if you punch in a value on on high level, then system does the disaggregation based on this. We'll also see that today now. Okay, so yeah, created three copy operators, and then let's make a note of the customer forecast, and then there is this location forecast. Great. Same, come here, click on disag. There are 77 operators on the disag. Click on plus, copy customer forecast to location. Copy customer forecast to location forecast. Again, it's interactive batch filter mode. Click on plus, and then here I'll say this is source under KFID1, and this is target key figure ID 1, and now here I'll go and I'll pick come on. Oh, and then I need to give the period ID. This is a mandatory for it. You need to give the time dimension also here, and then the attribute dimension, which attribute you want to do PRD ID. Click on OK, save. So if you we'll talk about the parameters for the disag. It says source is mandatory, target is, and then the period ID is mandatory, and then attribute n. So let me just check whether I use the right ATTRIBUT1, and then period ID is 405. Okay, so yeah, let me trigger the activation. It's taking eternity, man. Just just want to know, it just picks up. So if it fails, it will throw an error like on the face during the very beginning of the planning area run, activation run. So let's see this. I go to application logs. It failed. Great. Why it failed? What is it saying? One second. So there's something called the check operator. Check also will, first it just checks. It won't activate. Um, it just checks, whether the configuration and stuff that has been done correctly or not. Uh, Sometimes the check gives. Anyway, for now, take this off, guys. I mean, I don't want to waste the time. So for now, we'll just keep the ball rolling. I'll see to it. Tomorrow we'll discuss on it. For sure, I also want to touch base on the disaggregation expression. So using one key figure to do the disaggregation, I'll look into it. But now don't have time. It's running, and we also have to set up the data on it. So okay, now this it has picked up. Okay, anyway, let me look into that. That's why the disaggregation expression based on other key figure, I couldn't remember what is this thing that I'm missing in. Okay, so let's read the theory. Let's go. You see here, the desig operator can read values of the source key figure at a higher level than the base planning level of the target key figure. That is at the aggregation level. So in this example, it calculates at an aggregate level product and then it copies data from at an aggregated level. Then the copy operator then copies the values from source key figure target figure, disaggregating the values to the base planning level of the target key figure. First it aggregates and then it copies, and while it copies, it also disaggregates to the detail level. The source key figure can be calculated or stored, but the target must be stored. Obviously, right? I mean, you cannot create the target key figure as a calculated one. If it is a calculated one, then what's the point of running a copy operator in first place? Because the calculation will give its value. Then why you're running uh, kind of another copy operator on it? Yeah, it is saying that is same as with the copy operator. If you are using it for version specific key figures, both source and target must be added to the version. Okay, like if the source is in multiple versions, and the target also has to be in the same versions. Otherwise, again, the run operator run would fail because it says that both the key figures has to be in the version. These are the parameters that we use. That attribute is the mandatory. And then it says that attribute is the aggregation level at which the source key figure is read and copied onto the target key figure. In this example, product ID is that attribute 1. So system aggregates to this level. So filter underscore attribute is there, so you can actually specify a filter in the operator itself. Same goes with the copy operator also. So you can give a filter like brand ID is brand X, so you can give the copy operator name also as copying brand X a key figure from source to target. So now the planner, if they run the operator, it would just copy it only for that brand X. So you can actually specify the filter in the operator itself. So instead of giving it as an interactively selection, so you can also make it as a hard code selection in the operator itself. So these are the other the parameters that we use. Same period and period ID is the technical ID of the time level. So here we're running it weeks, so we also have to give a week for the disaggregation operator. Remember, for the copy operator, we are not using any of the time dimension. It system just does the copying, but whereas with the disag, we have to give the time period. And there is offsets, and then also we can use this disag operator to copy the data between the planning areas. So this is kind of an extra thing that the disag operator will do. So you can just copy the data from one planning area to another planning area. So let's see what happened to our activation run. It typically takes some 8 to 9 minutes, right? We started at 8:33. Checking the relationship of the mobile entities. Fine. Now while activation is going on, we cannot access the planning area. We use this copy operator and disag operator quite frequently, and then there would be a lot of operators that we end up creating, and as a best practice, there would be some kind of a tracker where we, you know, as the activation is, let me also say this to you. So, like as a best practice, I mean, when you're getting into the, I think I'm sure that the same would have been followed in the APO systems also. Like here, we maintain a tracker where we specify everything. First, we specify that, what is this is a configuration tracker saying key figure ID and the stuff like name and stuff. So we'll say that owner of this key figure, just the owner, you know. So let's say I configured something called as a Z test test copy disag cust forecast. So this is operator that this is a key figure that I've selected. So then I'll say then the whoever has created, he has to go and create this entry. He has to say that John is the owner of it, and then we'll say that what is the source, whether it's an S4 element or it's a it's a manual entry like planner enters it, or it's a calculated, or it's a operator output. Uh, Operator output is like, maybe a copy operator is running it, or forecast run operator output, or disag operator, or a snapshot, or X or Y or Z. So you just give this here, and then um, so we'll also give, like, other details like in the copy operator, like aggregation and disaggregation. But mainly we also give, if it is a calculation, we have to say calculation logic. And then if there is an interface that is there, we'll give a rise of number, that which integration object is bringing this data. And then it depends upon other like it depends upon the implementation, what all things you want to see it inside in this configuration tracker. So I will go through it. So there will obviously be notes, further notes, that you know etc. But at one place, you'll go and you see, and obviously there is also a team related, that which team owns it, whether it's a DP related, or it's a supply planning, or it's a reporting related, uh, XYZ, so that you can come back and see that, okay, what is a key figure, and who this is a this is a key, so that you can always go to John and ask him that, okay, why you have written this calculation like this. He might have written that this cost forecast is the sum of A plus B plus C, that C key figure could be owned by another team, right? So that you can bring the coordination. There's also something called as a operators. So this is where you also create an operator, that you'll say that what is it? This is operator ID and operator type, and then again owner, bring the accountability. Owner, and like this is the function. Sometimes we also write a purpose here, just to make it, this is for the business to understand. So let's write a one-line purpose, that what is this key figure is made for. This key figure is made to hold the customer related output, which is the final result of the some marketing planning, mm, you know team, something like that. Just a purpose. Just like here, even this operator also will write a function, like what it exactly does, where this has been used, at what time frame, or like in what sequence we are using it, whether it comes as a first thing, or whether it comes in after the demand planning is done, blah blah blah. So we maintain this, and then this configuration tracker is one single thing, which, so that you will know like how many key figures you end up creating. So you eventually, any implementation, you end up creating like 300 or 200, if it is a large scale, if entire demand is there, supply is there, everything is there, then you will eventually end up creating a lot of key figures. And sometimes you also create helper key figures and stuff. So yeah, this is configuration tracker. So what happens is, there will be a lot of exercises, guys. So I mean, the kind of good practices that I'm saying, so like every month you need to have a touch base, just to clean up these key figures. So sometimes what happens is, you end up creating like for example, let's say there's a sales manager forecast and there's a sales team input. So this happened, guys. This happened in real time. So because eventually you create a lot of key figures, and who uses it? No idea. No one will use it. You'll just simply keep on creating it, and because if you can't, do the reverse engineering and stuff. So let's say there is a key figure called Sales Manager Forecast. This is at Galaxy Tab 101, Amazon, salesperson John, Steve, Robert. This is the values. Now you create another key figure called Sales Team Inputs. That is a product and customer, and you create another copy operator. So business will ask that why to create a different key figure? Why can't you just view the sales manager forecast at product and customer level? System anyway does the aggregation. System will show you the aggregated value. Do we really need a separate key figure to hold the aggregated values inside? So that is a question that the business will ask eventually. As a configuration expert or maybe as a consultant, we have to, answer it up. So because there's always this from client side there, especially with IBP implementations, there's always this an IT guy, SAP IT guy, who works on the client payroll or can be an external consultant, whatever. So that guy will be there along with the business team. So there would be these review meetings, the configuration review meetings. So like we'll sit and then we'll sit for like 2 hours, and then we just take this configuration sheet, we go key figure by key figure, and then we'll talk about this, and this key figure comes in, and then they say like in here we'll just write the sales team inputs, and then we'll like this, and then the owner is again Steve, um, and then he writes that this is a operator output. He writes all this stuff, and then the question will come, do we really need this? And then the Steve might have to uh, defend his case that why he went with a separate key figure and why a copy operator has come in. Then he'll say that okay, I talked with Robert. Robert is the one who's in charge of the marketing team, like statistician or demand planner or whatever. So he said that he wants a key figure where the aggregate will hold, so that he'll use it for some other purpose or something like that. Then the business will talk within themselves that do we need a separate key figure, blah blah blah. So eventually why we want to cut down on the key figures? Because they want to view the planning views very crisp. So obviously, right, I mean, you just don't want to clutter your planning Excel planning view with huge rows with huge key figures. So and it turns them off. So the moment they see, like for this combination, if this Galaxy Tab Amazon, if they see 5 key figures, then they are like they go crazy. So they are like um, they'll say like cut down. So we don't want to we don't want to see these many key figures, or maybe hide them, or just show us what's the input, what's output, anything has to be done in between. Just show that any adjustments, even adjustments also they want to cut down. I mean, that's a thing, right, with the business, minimum entry, maximum reporting. So they want to feed as minimum as possible and get as much as possible out of it. So yeah, this exercise is mandatory, and sometimes some if unfortunately if we get, if from the client side, if the IT guy is so crazy and adamant and stuff, he might want to have so much of configuration trackers. He might even go to a level, he'll say that uh, mapped planning view. This is a level, trust me, I mean this you will definitely face. He wants to write the planning view also, like where this key figure is available in. So here you will end up writing that this key figure is available in marketing team a planning view, and then there is a supply review, and then there is also another sheet called GM review or something like that. So in these 3 Excel planning views, this key figure has been mapped in. So you have to go to that level, and then you have to start putting it up that where this key figure is available in. So yeah, it could go to that detail also. So yeah, what I'm saying is that will as a best practice, you have to do this, because it will just shoot up later once you guys are done with 300 400 key figures. Then the business will go crazy, and then they'll even get confused with the names of the key figures itself. So they will not understand what's the difference between sales team input and sales manager forecast. right? I mean, at that point of time when they give the input, it would look like clear and straightforward, but eventually after a couple of months, and if you revisit this configuration piece, then business will themselves will go crazy, because as a configuration expert we'll know that what is this, what is it distinct between this key figure and this key figure. But even the key figure descriptions itself takes off, and there would be another discussion just to finalize on the key figure names itself, that what is the right name that to give to this key figure so that it holds this thing. So yeah, so it's a big process. You guys are following me? Think you guys are there. I'm just telling from my own experience from my last 4 implementations. What kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
challenges? Yeah, good. Activation is successful. Now let's go back, and before that, let me attach this disag operator also to the planning area. And while this is taking time, let me log in to test config. Now that status is active. Now let's go to the planning operator here. What is the name that I gave? Copy cust forecast. This is the operator that I'm extending. Click on OK. Save it. Okay, so now let me just see whether I have the products and what? There are no products. What happened? Did I deleted anything by any chance? I don't know. Anyway, let's create something on the fly. Surprising. Okay, now created the thing, and let me open up this weak broad log customer. What I'm doing from the backend, I am loading the data for our source key figure so that when I run the copy operator, it copies it. Yeah, this is the one. Edit mode, going to the current time frame. Test copy source key figure. Click on OK. No data found, obviously. There will not be any data. Let's go to the key figure. Oh no, come on. First bring up the customers here. Hmm. What's the product ID? QX1. Okay, now let's take this. Let's take this. SKU X2 has a fewer combinations. Z test copy. This is a beauty that if you follow some kind of a consistent naming convention that you can search for it quickly. Now, no boss. Okay, let's give some values here. So let me open this up in a maintenance planning, this planning view. A view opens, edit this, and this is what we have done for all the maintenance and stuff. So not this. Click on ID and search for it. You will get all the IDs, product ID and not currency and customer ID. Great. So come here to the key figures. You say test copy. Take this too. The data that we loaded is here. Okay, let's run a copy operator. So in this advanced, click on run. So we picked up snapshot and we picked up a redo snapshot. So now I'm picking up the copy operator. Now system would list all the copy operators that are there. There is only one operator, copy source to target. So the scenario is baseline. We'll talk about scenarios later. So under the versions, there is base version, and now I'm running it. So now let me go to the other sheet. But I forgot what is the target planning level. Okay, this is weak prod lock at location level. Great. Go here. Where is product ID? Product ID. I think the copy just happened. So what it did, let's shift the view so that we'll look at it from a product perspective, not from a location perspective. Okay, SKU X1 for RDC1, it is showing 2600 is a target. So how 2600 is been made? It is been made, again, change this view. So SKU X1, RDC1, it is 3 customers. It is none. Why? Because test copy target doesn't have any customer dimension. That's why it gives you none. And then the source key figures are having values of 100, 2000, 500 for the unique combination of SKU X1, RDC 101, and Amazon Target eBay. You run the copy operator and system, the target key figure is only at product and location. Then it did the aggregation and it showed up. You guys are there with me till now? So I'll say 10, 10, 10. Save it. The values will not change. Why? Because you didn't wrote a key figure calculation there, but you wrote a key copy operator. Go click on run copy only when you run the operator. And so this time I'll show another one. Just 20, 20, 20. Save. So run the copy operator and put a filter. I'll put the filter like I'll just run it only for RDC 101. So that 20, 20, 20 will not be happening now. So you can go to the status, click on copy operator. It will show all the statuses of all the jobs it is finished. Just takes a second to. So now you see only this 30 has changed, but not this. Why? Because you kept a filter that to run the operator only for RDC 101. If you run it without putting a filter, then you'll don't apply any filter, just run it, then it would just copy for all the existing combinations. So 60 has come in now, and this is gray because it's a calculated one, you can't change it. So if I say 111, save it, you have a 0 valid changes. Whatever the sheet is maintenance plan, that's why this maintenance plan is coming. The following key figure is not editable, copy it. Great. Now let's do the DSAG thing. So let's go to DSAG. Planning objects with key figure data. It's called it's at a week prod customer. Edit, pick up the current time bucket, customer forecast, and I want the key figure. It says no data. Yeah, we know. Customer forecast. Yes, this is our key figure name. Where was that? This is a key figure name, and give a product SKU X1, and then product is just the Amazon. So I'll say 1000. Saving it. I gave it wrongly. You see, system is intelligent enough to validate it when you're running save data. Now save. I mean, you'll receive the same error message if you run a data integration job through a flat file upload CSV file. 130 records, 130 are changed. Click on OK. It's done. So now come back here. I'm changing the settings. I'll bring up. Yeah, let's keep this like this. Test this ag. Customer forecast, location forecast. Okay, SKU X1, Amazon customer test DSAG look customer forecast is 1000, but whereas location DC is the location forecast, it hasn't yet give the value. Now let me run the DSAG operator, copy and disaggregate. Oh, there are a lot of operators under this, so let's pick up. Oh no, where was our So I think we first logged in and then we extended the operator. So for that, we need to disconnect back and log in back again. Then you will see all the updated operator list. I hope I have assigned it to the right planning area. Sometimes you assign it to a wrong planning area because all the planning area names look alike. Okay, now I logged in back, so now I am expecting that it would show up my operator. Yes, copy customer forecast to location forecast. Great. It is saying from week to from 25th. Yeah, like just pick up our location, this time frame, and that's it. So click on next. To schedule, click on status, check for copy and disaggregate key figure. It's in process. Let me also maintain this Amazon, not Amazon, this is eBay, right? So that we can see that disaggregation properly. So 1000. Still in process. Surprising, it is finished. Okay, great. Let's keep this as it is. Let's come and refresh here. So you see that 1000 is being disaggregated to all the existing combinations of the product and location. So you guys are getting right. So let me, oh, come on. Let me load it for another customer, then it makes more sense. Like how that aggregation happens and how disaggregation happens. I'll say eBay SKX1. I'll say this is 2000. And what is the other customer name? Target stores. So now the source key figure has data across 5000 for across 3 customers for a single product called SKX1. Okay, I'm doing a refresh now. So we'll see all other customers coming in. Okay, SKX1, there's no location because this key figure is not at location level. 3 customers, Amazon, Target, eBay. This is the data that I maintain at the back. And now if I run the disag operator, copy and disaggregate, yeah, it is running from 2016. That's why that's the thing. So yeah, you would have kept an offset, then it would be very quick. So now what happens is that, as you said, the attribute is a product ID. Now system aggregates the customer forecast key figure data at a product level, that is 1000, 5000, 2000, that becomes 8000. Now it copies that 8000 at a product level onto the location forecast. So now when that 8000 is copied onto the target key figure at product ID, then it disaggregates to product and location level. So that 8000 would be disaggregated across the locations that are available here. You see that 8000 has been disaggregated to 2000, 2000, 2000, 2000. So yeah, so I think now the disaggregation is proportional. That's why just did like this. Okay, so you guys understood? So tomorrow I'll also get into that disaggregation expression, that instead of proportionately disaggregating it, so we'll maintain another key figure. So we'll expect its system to happen at based on that key figure. Any doubts, guys? Okay then. Yeah, we'll catch up tomorrow same time.
Yeah.
Okay. Any doubts we
Thank
can catch up tomorrow also on the same topic. Thanks guys. Thanks for joining. Bye.
you.